what I learned is from being in this business is you can't change people. I learned that, and I learned that you have to see people for who they can be, not for who they are right now. Because a lot of people, I mean, come from background where they don't really believe in themselves or they don't think they can do it. And you got to constantly pour belief into people. What I realize is whenever I feel down, if you call or encourage somebody else, you start feeling better, right? When you bless others, you'll be blessed.
Welcome to the Soul Not Skin podcast, a virtual living room, a safe, welcoming place to land where you can pull up a chair and share stories straight from the heart. I'm your host, Jen Slumack, or as my students like to call me, Miss Jen. We talk about the real human experience, the hard stuff, the wonderful stuff, and the messy, everyday growth that shapes who we become. Real stories, real people, real insight, becoming who we are. Settle in, and let's dive into today's episode.
This is Darron Charles, everyone. Every now and then God just drops people in your world. You know what I mean? You're not even paying attention, and somebody just drops into your world, and all of a sudden you start talking and you realize that you might just be kindred spirit, right?
Yeah.
So my wife and I were at a sporting event. Here we are in the stands. We've got some tickets for this game, and we're enjoying the game. And I just cheer for folks. So I screamed out, "Hey, good job." Somebody was coming off the floor and on the bench had just played about, 5 minutes or whatever. But when I screamed it out, this guy looks over at me and he was with a friend and he's like, "Yeah, that's this person's sister." I was like, "Well, what?" So anyway, so it was kind of cool, but the way he looked at me, like it was something in his eyes. It wasn't just like someone looking at you sideways, like you're making too much noise at a game. It was this sort of, he saw me. It was very interesting. And I remember feeling that way. And he offered to, hang out like at halftime. And so we got to talking a little bit and we talked about how we both like to really make an impact in this world and the work that he's doing and the work that I'm doing. And what was different in our stories that I found a little bit compelling to me anyhow is we come from very different beginnings. So can I turn it to you and tell us who you are and tell us your story, Darron?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on the podcast. I love what you're doing and making an impact. And I know God's gonna continue to bless you because you're serving His people. So I'm excited to be on. Like you said, I come from very humble beginnings. My father and my mother. My mom's from Antigua. My dad's from Trinidad. My mom ran the Olympics in 1984.
She ran the
So she
Olympics?
Yeah, she ran the Olympics. My
Wow.
sister ran the Olympics too in 2012. One of my sisters, right? Come from a pretty competitive family. And growing up, I saw my father work hard all the time. He work at a job, and I always saw him come home frustrated. Right, I always saw him come home mad because I guess the finances weren't all the way there. But I mean, they put us through private school. They worked hard to do that. Eventually, I saw my father when he went on business for himself, and it's the company we're in right now. I saw his attitude change, or I saw maybe he's more positive. We started doing devotion in the morning, right? Instead of getting spanked all the time, he started having me read books, right? I was reading Think and Grow Rich when I was 12, 13 years old, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He started working on my mind. And when I saw the change in him, I wanted that. And I never wanted to go back to a job because I saw the freedom he had. And I know the job was taking him away from his purpose a lot of times, his calling. And nothing wrong with the job if you're working at what you're put in this earth to do. But he was frustrated every single day. And then when I saw the change in him and the freedom he started having, I saw him able to go to all my sister's high school games and pay $200 an hour for a trainer. Now she's in the WNBA. One of my sisters ran the Olympics, is paying $3,000 a month for a trainer. My brother has a gym that my dad helped him pay for. I saw the freedom he had, and I wanted that. And so that's why I decided to go on business for myself. So after college, I met my wife in college. We have three daughters, right? But after college, I knew that this is what I want to do. I want to make an impact in the lives of other people. And one of the main things we do is as far as educating people on the different types of life insurance. And when I got involved in the business and I learned more about it, I realized that in the African American community, African Americans have more life insurance than any race. But we also have a lot of GoFundMe accounts because a lot of them are being sold the wrong type. And so when I saw basically what the industry was doing to people, I really got excited about this as an opportunity where I can help people make a difference. We've had 93 death claims that we've paid out, and Seeing a person, thanking God and praising God for what we did for them. It's about making a difference in the lives of other people. But along the journey, obviously, you're going to go through ups and downs and different things like that. And what I learned is from being in this business is is you can't change people. I learned that, and I learned that you have to see people for who they can be, not for who they are right now. All right, as with building a team, a lot of times people come from different backgrounds, and their belief level may not be what your belief level is. But what I realized is you got to see them for who they could be, because a lot of people, come from background where they don't really believe in themselves, or they don't think they can do it. And you got to constantly pour belief into people. And what I realize is whenever I feel down, if you call or encourage somebody else, you start feeling better, right? When you bless others, you'll be blessed, right? It's like, I'm sure you feel good every single day, Jen, because whatever you're doing to other people, you're really doing for yourself. If you bless others, you'll be blessed. If you curse others, you'll be cursed. And so I started learning that you got to take yourself out of the equation, and you got to focus on serving people, because when you help them achieve their needs and what they want, right, you eventually achieve what you want also, right? So we're dealing with people. A lot of times people may not know, they may not know their true value and what they're worth. But what I realize is we're all children of God, and God don't make any jump, right? We all have a purpose. I believe that we're all put on this earth to make somebody's life better. And I truly believe that the best thing you can do for people is just be an example. Give them an opportunity, of course, but give you an example of how to live, and always encourage and believe in who they can be. Because if you look at them for who they are, they'll remain the same. But if you look at them for who they can be, they'll raise to your level of expectation or far beyond. And so this business taught me a lot about people, and it just ignited a passion for just serving people, just like what you do right now. It's not even about the money, because when you serve people, you serve God, and all money is just your certificate for serving God's people. So the more you're making, that means the more people you're serving, the more people you're blessing. So I love the fact that not only can we make a difference in other people's lives financially, but I can actually encourage people to be who God put them on this earth to be, and they can see themselves bigger than what they saw themselves before me, right? So that's
Yeah.
the big thing, and I'm sure what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for that. So, one of the things that you said earlier, Darren, is I heard you say that your dad came home frustrated all the time, and you saw him get into this business, and then he started coming with a different sort of energy toward the family. And I heard you say that you started doing devotions in the morning. And then I heard you say that you were reading you were reading inspirational books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad when you were 12 years old. So, was your ability to succeed, your brothers, your mothers, your sisters, both your sisters, was your ability to succeed uh, part of your father's new freedom? Was he able to support sort of the growth and the focus of the family, each doing their own things as a result of his new business, or was that all happening anyway?
Okay, that's a great question. I think I think it's a large part because as he built the business, he had more freedom. He was able to pour more time, more energy, and also more resources, right? Because like I said, $200 an hour for a trainer for my sister, and she's very talented. But I know for a fact, with the exposure and the different things he was able to do for her, and the training and coaching and the mentorship he's able to pay for, I know it took her a lot further. Because a lot of times we might have children that might be the next president, the next mayor, but if we don't have the resources or time to
Yeah.
invest in them, and if they're just sitting at home on TV or playing Roblox all day, they're
See.
wasting a lot of talents and gifts away. So I definitely believe that, because when I was growing up, he wasn't able to come to any of my games or really do anything with me. But as he started making more money, have more freedom, my brother, my other two sisters, he was there for everything. And I truly believe that support, that encouragement, but also the resources to get exposed, helped him out a lot. So I think that really helped out a lot. And as he changed the mindset, obviously he's a leader of the house. I mean, the household mindset changes, right? So
Right.
instead of being frustrated, mad, now, hey, we're self improving, we're getting better, we're getting more in the Word, we're working our mind because he was doing it. So
That's
just like
right.
they say, the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack, and that's basically he created that environment in the household. And this is before I graduated high school, toward the end of high school. But I took that with me as I started having kids. I started doing, I'm gonna start doing devotion, or I'm gonna start reading books. Like my daughters, if I give them $100 for every book they read, as long as they write an essay on it. So they want to
What?
get their
That's
hair.
fantastic. I want to be
Yeah,
your daughter because I used to
yeah.
read, boy.
That's what I tell them. So I say, hey, you're not able to work yet because they're young. But I said, if you can work on your mind, and what I let them know is, if you want anything, it's good to look pretty. You're going to get your hair done, your nails done. If you read a book, you get the money for whatever you want to get. So $100, or you can get their hair done, their nails done, whatever they want to do. So now they come to me, and they've been reading books for since they're like 5 or 6. Like
Really?
they've read like Think and Grow Rich, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. They read so many books. Every single month they're reading a book because they want to, but they're getting better and how they're interacting with their friends. And they eliminate people that I don't have to tell them to eliminate. They'll come to me and say, I'll say, hey, what happened to your friend such and such? And they'll be like, well, she's too negative. We don't hang around her. She's not positive, or she's always talking about other people. And so by working
Wow.
on their mind, right, they make the right decisions without me having to really tell them.
But you
And so
have told them, though, by modeling, like you said.
you got to, absolutely, you got to show the example. That's what my dad did for us. He showed a better example, because the kids and people don't do what they say, they do what you do. And what your actions scream, your words whisper. And so what you do
Yes.
really speaks louder than what you say. Yep.
Your body language says about 90% of what you think you're communicating. You know what I
Mm.
mean? The parenting, I love what you said. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. Ooh,
Yes.
that gave me
Yes.
chills. I love that. I've never heard that, Darren.
Yes.
Um,
Ma'am.
I want to stay on that for a minute because I think that is remarkably powerful about being a parent who knows to help young people, particularly young women, develop their mind and develop their mind in a way where, and also I hear the devotion. So your faith is a big foundation in this as well. So um, I heard you on another show. I think you said once you know who you are and whose you are, you can really flourish in this
That's
world.
right. That's right.
Um, and so teaching your daughters that I think is remarkably powerful in that they then were able to navigate some of the negativity and the toxic energy that they sort of came across naturally.
Absolutely.
Um, because boundaries is something I didn't get a chance to learn much. Coming up, my parents loved us. My parents tried. My parents did the best that they knew how to do. We didn't have somebody guiding things the way that it sounds like you are able to do in your family. My father's a minister. He's a retired minister, but my parents were in their own pain when I was growing up, and they were navigating their own pain. And so the household became sort of figuring all that out. One thing that struck me that you said, though, is on our refrigerator as a child, before my parents divorced, when we were all still one unit, there was this picture of this little kid, and he was resting on his folded arms, and it said, I know I'm somebody because God don't make no junk. And you said that earlier in the podcast, and it made me chuckle because that's one of my fondest memories of my family when it was still a unit, was that was
Yes.
sort of the message that I saw every time I went to get some milk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there was
Yes.
an element of trying to work on our mind, of trying to show us who we are and whose we are when
Yes.
before all of the fracture, right?
That's right.
Um, Darren, I heard you say too that in the beginning, it's very important to pour belief into people because not everybody feels good about themselves. And I know that has been true for me. And maybe that's one part of what I saw in your eyes when I first met you. Um, and then I think that you may have seen in mine because we had this sort of common experience, I think, of meeting something bigger than the person in front of us when we met.
Yeah.
Am I
Yes.
right about that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, there's an energy, there's a spirit in us that's sort of connected, right? You spoke about your daughter's ability to navigate toxicity. Tell me about how you encountered some of that as you pursued this business and how you had been sort of foundationally prepared to navigate that as well. But tell
That's
me
right.
about some of the frustrations there.
Okay, that's a great question. Well, I guess whenever you're starting something new, a lot of times the people you're introducing it to, a lot of the friends that I had before, they see you as you are now, and so they don't see you as you can be. So a lot of times they might reject you, not because they don't believe in what you're offering, they just don't believe in you being able to do it. And so when it's like we say, like even with Jesus, say you can't be a prophet in your own land. He couldn't perform any miracles in Nazareth. He had to go outside the city because everybody said, "Oh, that's a carpenter's son," right? They didn't believe that he could perform miracles. They didn't believe that he's the son of God, right? So same thing. So when I got involved in the business, a lot of the friends and people I used to hang with, if it was about partying or drinking or fun, they were supporting, right? But when it's, hey, let's go in business for us, so let's learn how to invest money, they laughed, right? And so I realized that sometimes you have to separate yourself from people that aren't going where you're going if you want to elevate, because when you come back, they'll be in the same position anyway. All right. I mean, they'll be at the same party, the same club, or still at their mom's house. So sometimes you have to leave people behind in order to go after what you're put in this earth to do. And sometimes you might feel like you're missing out, or you're missing people. But as you're elevating, God will put even better people and the right people on your path and in your life to help you continue to elevate. And that's what I started to realize. I started getting better friends and more, and that people are on the same path as me. And sometimes it feels lonely, like you feel like you're by yourself, you're going by yourself.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, and that's what it feels like. But along the way, you start picking up the tools. Along the way, you start meeting new people. Along the way, you start getting resources to actually achieve what you. So you just got to go out on blind faith a lot of times, or just know that every time you jump, the net will always appear. But so you don't know, you don't got to see how it's going to happen, or what's going to happen. You just got to know it's going to happen. You don't got to see what way, or you got, or there's a certain plan to get there, right? You just got to know it's going to happen, because it's never going to happen the way you want it to happen, but you know it's going to happen, right? And so I just had to believe, no matter what people around me said, no matter what it looked like. I mean, your spouse and and a lot of times they're not being negative. It's just you've never showed them that you were bitter, so you never showed them examples of success before in that arena. So they just try to protect you from what they think is going to happen. They try to protect you from the failure. So it's not really that they despise what you're doing or anything like that. It's just all they know is what they know. They don't know the dream that God put in your heart, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And the mission that you're pursuing, right? They don't know it. They don't see it. That God gave the vision to you, not them. So a lot of people in the beginning didn't see it, but I had to hold on to it no matter what. So there's times where felt lonely. There's times where I was missing cookouts or parties and different things like that, because I want to sacrifice that time to get better or read or put work in. And I always said to myself, like whenever I was going through a tough time, I always said to myself, "Hey, you know what? This too shall pass. This too shall pass." And I whenever I woke up and I wanted to take a break or do nothing, I used to always say to myself, "What will the average person do?" The average person wouldn't read a book. Okay, let me pick up a book and start getting work on my mind. The average person wouldn't do an appointment. The average person would be at a club right now or a bar right now drinking. Okay, hey, let me put some work. Let me call some people. Let's encourage some of my teammates. Let's keep on working. So every single day, I just said to myself, what will the average person do? And if you do what the average person won't do, you'll have what the average person won't have. So that's the mindset I adopted over time, and then eventually becomes a habit. Like at first, when I started reading books and working on myself, I mean, I'd start 3 pages in and fall asleep. My head would hurt reading a book. You probably know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Unfortunately, I understand that.
Yeah, yeah, but I could listen to music and do it. But after a while, because I programmed my mind, then I got to the point where I can read a book, and music hurt my head. The wrong type of music, the wrong
Isn't
type,
that
the wrong
something?
type of message hurt my
Yes,
head.
sir.
Like I couldn't hear about the drugs and the killing. It just hurt my head. Like I can't even stand listen to this stuff, right? But then reading books, so it's flip flop, right? Because so you can reprogram your mind and be anything that you want to be, because you are who you say you are.
Yes,
And
sir.
whatever you say after "I am" is who you are. So if you say, "Hey, I'm a great business owner. I'm successful," that's who you are. If you say, "Well, I'm bad at direction. I'm bad with people," that's who you are. So whenever you talk, your mind shuts up and listens and gives you more of what you talk about. And that's the
Say
most
that
powerful thing.
again. For
Whenever
anybody
you
in the audience who didn't hear that, just stop what you're doing and pay attention right here. Say that again.
whenever you talk, your mind shuts up and listens and gives you more of what you talk about.
Woo! Yes, sir. That's the
So that's why you
truth.
that's why you want to speak. That's why the Bible said, "Let the weak say I'm strong." You speak what you want because even a
Yep.
lie becomes a truth if you believe it long enough. Right? Every successful NBA player, they said they're going to be the greatest before they're top 1,000. Right? I
Right.
mean,
Right.
Jay-Z probably was the best rapper alive before he was even top 20, before you even know by his name. But you got to speak it as if it was so, and eventually it'll be so. And whenever you're speaking something, in the beginning, you might feel fearful and doubtful, like, why did I say that? I put my butt in the line. Now people are going to be looking at me. But then it forces you to become who you're put in this earth to be. And eventually that lie becomes the truth. Because if you believe it long enough, soon to be realized and everybody else will believe it. So I had to believe it.
We'll be right back.
Hey, quick pause. I want to tell you about my workbook, Heal What Raised You. If anxiety, people pleasing, or overthinking feel like self sabotage, they're not. They're survival patterns. This workbook helps you finally see them so that they can stop running your life. No jargon, no blame, no toxic positivity. And right now, get 60% off. 60% off with code SNS July 60. Use that at the checkout. Links in the show notes. Let's get back to the show.
Well, that part.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's been some of my challenges. I so celebrate your conviction, right? Because I have always had this part of myself that speaks like you're speaking,
Yeah.
very clear.
Yes.
And I've also got this part of myself, it's like that's been dragging, holding onto my ankle, a little me that got our heart broke with the family fracture and with some other
Mm,
stuff and coming out of the closet and being rejected by the church and all
wow.
of these different things that sort of like in my alcoholism and being stuck in it before I got sober, all of these things sort of hang onto my ankle like a nuisance. And I'm just trying to
Yes.
shake her off and shake her off like, you did your time, baby. You came, you got me here. You did what you needed to do. Thank you. I'm sorry you hurt so bad. It's me talking to the old version of myself. I know you hurt. I know you got hurt. I know that you broke and your heart got broken by daddy, by all these people, but you got me here. Now hand me the baton and be gone. But she still holds on sometimes. And so I find myself struggling with her sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, did you ever have like a version of Darren who sort of held onto your pant leg and just wouldn't let you go, man? That you had to sort of like, who whispered ugly into you that you had to combat on a daily basis. Tell me a little bit about that version of your
Wow.
struggle, if you've had it.
Yeah.
I don't know
Absolutely.
if everybody has it. I think to some degree everybody does, but
I think so too. So I think everybody deals with that. It's the thoughts that cripple us because I don't believe like that people say, oh, the devil doing this to me, the devil work on me. I don't think that the devil does anything to us. I believe he could plant a seed and we can hold on to the seed and self-sabotage ourselves. And it might be a seed of doubt that we hold
yeah,
on to. Or it might be, oh, what this happened in the past, and we hold on to it, and so it sabotage our future. And that's what. So I had to learn. I had to start recognizing little victories because I would hold on. Well, what if you fail again? What if you mess up? What if your team quits again? So I had to start recognizing little victories because whatever you're grateful for, whatever you hold on to, is what you're going to continue to attract. So I had to be grateful for the fact that even if my numbers weren't where I want to be, my business, my income, hey, I'm grateful for another day of spare life. God gave me an opportunity to do it again. All right. I have to look for little successes because if you focus on those things, you'll attract more of it. And then I realized that I had to deliver on my promises, not just for others, but to myself. Because when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, you start having that shame and that doubt and that shame it kills success because it ties you to your past and then it sabotages your future.
yes,
So you're
sir.
thinking, so now you're thinking, well, I can't do it because last time I said I was going to do it, I didn't do it, or what if it doesn't work? So I just had to learn that you have to live in a moment because all like all depression is thinking about what went wrong in the past, and all anxiety is worrying about what can go wrong in the future. So I have to learn how to live in the moment, and only look in the past to see how far I've come in my successes. That's it. I never looked at. I started look at. Hey, I'm not looking at how what I did wrong. I look at the fact, or to look back at successes I had, and knowing, okay, if I did it before, I could do it again, right? But you have to hold on to it, because we can actually sabotage our future by the thoughts that we hold on to. So we're the creators of our destiny, but we have to make sure we're focusing on the things we want, not the things we don't want. So of course, we all deal with doubt and different things like that. But the greatest thing you have to conquer is your thought, your minds, and you have to
Agree with
refocus.
that.
So whenever I have a thought, I say, I cast this thought down. If it's a negative thought, I cast this thought down, and the thought and the vision you hold on to the longest is what your life's going to reflect. So you just got to hold on to the vision of what you want long enough, because the negative thoughts will come. That will come. We're human. But you have to hold on to those thoughts long enough until your vision comes into fruition. And it's so important to guard what you put in your ears, guard what you watch, guard the circle you hang around with, because the devil can use all those things to plant those seeds of doubt. And then when we hold on to that, that's who we self-sabotage ourselves. So I had to definitely learn that if you have a thought, and if you're feeling bad, every time you're feeling bad, it comes from a thought that you don't want. It comes from a negative thought. And when you're feeling good, that means you're thinking about what you want. So anytime you're feeling bad, you don't need a drug or to medicate you or anything like that. No, you need to change the way you think, and you'll change the way you feel. So whenever I'm feeling like down or I'm motivated like that, okay, I must be thinking about what I don't want, what's going wrong. Okay, let's change that thought, and then I feel motivated by focusing on the things that I do want, and that gives you that extra boost of energy. So only look at your past for how far you've come, or to look at past successes, but never hold on to. You just gotta let it go, and just know that everything happened for you. Because if you did go through some type of struggle in the past, then that's God giving you an opportunity where you can help somebody else. That's what you do. You can help some other people get through it. So you thank
Yeah,
God for that, the struggle, because the struggle teaches you perseverance. It teaches you character, right? Mental toughness. But then you can relate to somebody that others might not be able to relate to, and help them get through it,
that's
right?
right.
Because you've been there.
That's
So the
right.
people that struggle the most can teach it the best.
Yeah,
So all
and
the
I
stuff you've
agree
gone
with
through,
that.
that's
Go
what you
ahead. I'm
are, a great
sorry.
teacher. No, you're right. You're a great teacher because you've gone through great struggle.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And it is why I love working with folks on the inside, because a lot of the folks that I meet who are incarcerated, or who have been through a lot of trauma and those types of things, who have that version of themselves holding on to their pant leg, trying to get them to, and sometimes the entire family is holding on to them.
Yeah,
Right. And so it's really hard to break free of that, particularly when your needs are not met, your basic
yeah,
needs, because you got to stay in that environment to survive,
yeah,
and it's toxic and it'll weigh you down. Right.
yeah.
But I love what you said, because, and this isn't new, I'm not making this up. I heard this and I shared it with my students, but you are what you eat is a lot more than a taco. You
Yep,
are what you eat is the music you listen to, the
yep,
books that you put inside you, the places you put yourself that you can observe in the course of a day. It's what you take in visually. It's all of it.
yep,
It's all of it, And I heard you say, Darren, that you were reading and you stopped being able to listen to that music,
yep,
right? Because it was negative, because it's the story of a reality, and it's a story of a reality that exists and that is deeply ingrained with a lot of times hurt,
yep,
deprivation, but it starts sounding dirty in your ears, right?
yep,
Like,
yep,
that's me sometimes. My wife would be so patient with me, because she likes sometimes watching these like old Viking movies, or like just a lot of violence sometimes, and I'm like, "Babe, I can't watch this.
yeah,
It just makes me like, I can watch The Pit, where they're showing like blood on the emergency table and stuff, like, well, like stabbing each other and all this stuff." She goes, "What's the
yeah,
difference? There's so much blood." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Because there's hostility behind it.
mm,
It's the motivation behind the blood that I'm seeing.
yeah,
The knife piercing the skin in a hospital room is aiming to save somebody's life, but
that's right.
out there, it's hostility.
Yep,
It's a person's hurt, or a person's pain, or sickness. stabbing
Yeah.
somebody else, and I can feel it, I can taste it, and it makes me ill. Does
That's
that make
right.
sense?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things that you said, Darren, is the resources that your father came upon really helped to sort of nurture your talent and really feed your brain about and teach you as a man how to sort of craft your daughters. So you're able to help them develop a strong mind, right? Which is critical because there's probably very talented people sitting on the couch eating popcorn and watching and playing video games, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I heard somebody say one time that the richest place you'll ever find is the cemetery because that's where
Yeah.
all the dreams are
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
because people died without living them, right?
Yeah.
When you're dealing with people who are in addiction or people who have been severely traumatized, science tells us that those things live in the body, right?
Mm.
It
Yes.
changes the neural pathways of the brain, addiction does. And
Wow.
trauma will sit in the body and develop physical illness if it's not intervened upon and released. It's an energy, it's a toxic energy that sits in the
Yes.
body. And a lot of times there's no consciousness of it. So there
Right.
has to be work that's done to pull that out of somebody so that they
Yes.
can begin to flow. And one of the tools that we use, of course, is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is all
Yeah.
about practicing the changing of the mind, the
Yes.
thoughts. So
Yes.
when you say that you want to believe in folks or that you have to, when you start feeling bad, you recognize, all right, what am I focusing on that I
Yes.
don't like or that I
Yes.
don't have? And you have to shift your mind. How long did it take you to practice that?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, how much work does it take to believe in folks
Wow.
before they truly believe in themselves to do this work or any work?
Wow.
Because I think what you see is the development of the individual prior to the development of the income.
Yes. Yes. That's a great question. And I think it all depends on the individual. But it's you just gotta constantly be pouring into people, believing in people, encouraging them, because you could say 15 positive things and say one negative thing, and they only hear the one negative thing you said. So it all depends, and really it's just getting them to see themselves as who God sees them as, and who I see them as who they could possibly be. And it's really about getting them to work on themselves also, and being in an environment, a positive environment. But it depends on the person. It does take a lot of time, but um you can believe in them, but until they start really believing in themselves, really nothing changes. So you basically helping them see themselves as who they can be. And the more you encourage them, the more you recognize them, the more you point out the positives, the more they start to see it. I think that's our job is, and especially with you, our job as leaders, is to pour into people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and help them become who they're put in this earth to be. So it just depends on the person, for sure.
Well, I agree with that. And I think, too, what you said earlier really aligns well with that. You said for yourself, when you keep your own promise, you start to believe in yourself, right?
Yes.
If you don't keep your word to yourself, then you start to experience shame. And I think a lot of people, if you can pour into them what you described, pouring into them and believing in them, you start to give them opportunities to be able to keep their word to themselves. And that
Yeah.
starts to build empowerment and agency in somebody's life, right? Wow, I did do that. Oh my God, I can do that. I don't have anybody around me who would have encouraged me to try that. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yep.
And that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yes, man.
Um, what else would you tell me about your journey or about your mindset that might help folks who struggle with theirs?
I think that what else I tell you is um when you're when you're going after a goal, there's going to be challenges, and I think that in life, that you're either going into a problem, coming out of a problem, or you're in one right now. That's life, right? And that's why I say for every level is a different devil. So you never really arrive there. There's always another level. You have to keep getting better, and there's no, and just you got to always be progressing. So like the cure for depression is progression. So if you're progression going after something, because you don't just arrive somewhere and say, I don't got to do it anymore. I'm good. No, you have to keep on getting better, keep on progressing, um, and keep renewing your mind and keep and renewing yourself and becoming a better version of yourself. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And as long as you have breath in your lungs, there's your purpose is not fulfilled yet. There's still something work God has for you left for you to do. And if he can use you, and you continue to use your mind, right? I mean, not only obviously you impact more people, but it's better for you, because if you don't use it, you'll eventually lose it. That's why I think a lot of time when people are just sitting at home and doing nothing, like you have to retire, you sit home, you do nothing, right? I mean, they tend not to live as long because they're not working towards a purpose. There's no word in the Bible for retirement. You got to always be working towards something else, and there's always be making some else life better. And I think it never stops. I think it's the journey never stops until you pat your face in the ground. So you just gotta
Until what?
yeah. So you pat your face in the ground with a shovel. That the journey
Oh
never stops
Lord,
until you
that's
pass away.
Egyptian.
Right? Yeah. So I had to learn that. And then I have to also learn that, but like I said earlier, like what you're doing to others, you're doing to yourself. So you have to use your words to bless people, to heal people, or to prosper. And that's the only time you use your words: to bless, heal, or prosper. And the more you do that, the more blessings will flow to you. So it's all about making some miles of life better, as I realize it. Whenever I'm frustrated or down, it's because I'm thinking about myself, my own challenges, my own worry, my own this, my own that. But now, but if I start helping people achieve or focus or overcome their challenges, obviously I clear mine up. But at the end of the day, I feel more fulfilled when I'm doing the service for other people. So
Yes,
I
sir.
think that's what's about.
Two things that you made me think of. First of all, thank you so much for that. I just
Absolutely.
think, and thank you for your energy and your spirit and your vision, because
Thank you.
I want more people in the world to do the work that they need to do for themselves so that they can pour into others, because we just need more people on the ground pouring into others rather than criticizing and judging and just all of this mess. So I just celebrate your spirit and your presence on this planet, man. I just really,
Thank you.
really do. Um, I remember when I was in my alcoholism, I was seeking a lot of different things, but I had always dreamed of being a movie star. And I wanted to be, I did stand up comedy because I thought, boy, if I could get a tight 6 minutes, I want to get discovered by somebody and so, you know, and then I'm going to get my own show and I'm going to do all this stuff, right? But then I got sober and I started doing my inner work, right? I started working on stuff and I got close enough to fame and celebrity. I met some pretty impressive folks and sat in a green room with them and had some conversations, and they saw my set and celebrated what I was doing and all this stuff. But I started getting closer and closer to returning to the drink and returning to the drug in that environment, because I wanted so desperately for people that I was impressed with, to be impressed with me. And
Yeah.
the motivation was all askew. And I finally decided that instead of trying to be awesome, I needed to start being useful.
Yeah.
And you spoke to that. And I had been seeking happiness and freedom in being rich and in being famous. I thought,
Yeah.
boy, if I was rich and famous, I would have the influence to impact policy and I would have the money that I could redistribute to the poor.
Yeah.
Right? If I had, yeah, I could be like this pivot point in the universe where I could take and give. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, um, but that was the key. Once I started focusing on being useful, Darren, then all of a sudden I found joy.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody teaches you that, man.
Yes. Yes.
It's that being self-centered stuff that we can only see from behind our eyes and our problems and our stuff,
Yes.
right? But once we start to open up our heart and our mind to other things, you also spoke about um, making that decision about how you spend your breath. My mom just died in February, and I was able to be with her for the last month or two of her life at her bedside.
It's a blessing.
I tell you what, there is nothing like holding your mom's hand as she stops opening her eyes for a week or stops eating. You know, you fed her her last pretzel stick and she
Wow.
just doesn't want to eat anymore. And there's nothing like watching your mother just become silent and still
Yeah.
hold your hand and realize, my God, this woman has been through so much and she got me here. I'm sitting here, a grown ass woman next to her, holding her hand, watching her leave this earth. Nothing like that to make you reconsider how you're spending your time. And I pray everybody doesn't have to wait until that moment, but I mean, it takes what it takes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes
Absolutely.
what it takes. Um, and so I'm grateful for, like you said, I think all of our stories and our experiences are our greatest asset.
That's
You know,
right. That's right.
um, I'm gonna lean into something real quick because again, you inspire me in so many ways. So something else that you said really hit home, and I want to share with the audience. A lot of the folks in my audience right now have read my book, but there's a part in my book where I was in the height of my drinking. I was in the height of my dysfunction, brokenhearted, stuck on the alcohol, just drowning in it, but trying just, it was a mess. And here I was trying to reach God from inside my mess. Like, I loved God. I knew God loved me, but the world told me it didn't and it couldn't. And I couldn't reach it. And it was
Yeah.
one of the most pathetic times, if I'm honest, right? So I had met this gay couple who were also Christian.
Yeah.
And that started changing my world because it showed me that these two things could coexist. And I had never had that experience.
Yeah.
I remember one time I kept these guys' phone number after college. Years after college, I was in my apartment and I was desperate in my drunk. And I had slithered down my door and I was so pathetically sad and sick of myself. And I pulled out their phone number and I called one of these brothers. And I said to him, here's an excerpt. It said, I was wasted the evening I dialed that long distance number. I slurred through the receiver that I didn't want to live anymore. I couldn't stand myself. I told him I couldn't hold on to a relationship to save my life, that I couldn't hold a job. I had nothing left but alcohol and it was trying to kill me. I told him that God was so disappointed in me that I needed him to do me a huge favor, my friend, not God. I
Yeah.
said, I asked him if he would pray and put in a good word for me to please tell God I was trying. And I didn't know what else to do. I told him I called because he was a gay Christian and I hoped he would tell me why I felt so insane and so hopeless. And check this out, what this brother gave me that day. His response never left me. Calmly and warmly, he asked me to sit down and listen. I
Yeah.
sat down and held the receiver with two hands for dear life. He told me that God had given me so many gifts and I was hurting and miserable because I had been acting ungrateful.
Mm.
God wanted me to use the gifts he gave me and that I wouldn't find peace until I did.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Okay. So these are the moments that if you have the great fortune of
Yeah.
continuing to strive toward life, somebody along your path will pour into you
Yep.
and it can
Yep.
change everything.
Yep.
Darren, I see you pouring into folks and changing everything for people on this planet
Thank
that
you.
didn't know which way to go with things, that didn't know which way to go. Can I ask you what your daughters are doing today?
Yeah, one's in college. Two are still in high school. They do like dance and yeah, they're all in dance actually. They're all doing dance now. Mm-hmm.
They're all in dance.
Mm-hmm.
So they found themselves in their bodies. And one is in college.
Yes,
And I imagine they will all go to college. And if college ain't for them, they're going to go into something that's powerful.
they're gonna be successful no matter what. Absolutely. Been speaking on that since I tell them that every single day. You're smart. That's the same thing about my sister who's in the WNBA. I used to tell her all the time, "You're so smart. You're the best. You're so beautiful." And they start believing it because some people say, well, my children are bad, terrible twos, and they wonder why their children get locked up. Even telling you they're bad since they're 2 years old, right?
Ah,
So, but so I always spoke positive. You're so beautiful. You're so smart. You're the best. You're amazing. I call them beautiful. I call them princess, and because of that, they see themselves as more because they'll start believing it. All right,
absolutely.
if that's all they hear. So they no matter what they do, they're gonna be great at. Everything they do, they're awesome at.
So you're
They're
the big
awesome.
brother.
Yeah, I'm the big
I,
brother. Yeah,
in your family, you're the big brother?
oldest. Yeah, I'm the oldest. Yeah,
Yeah, see? And what a gift that you know to pour into folks. Because I'll tell you what a gift your daughters have a daddy telling them that.
yeah, all the
That's
time.
unheard of, Darren. I mean, that's just not common these days, unfortunately. At least in the world that I sort of spend my time, loving and pouring into people in the world that I do. I don't see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's a real gift. So what's next for us, man? What's next? We're gonna get together and have lunch sometime. What
Of course.
what are we gonna do?
You already know my sister's out there. Anytime I come out there, I'm reaching out to you. Anytime you're on the East Coast, you reach out to me. We have to stay connected because we're both of us were put on this earth to make lives better. And then I love the fact you're walking your purpose and all you've overcome. It's great hearing your story. You're a beautiful person. Just your heart is so beautiful, and it exudes out of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just excited about our friendship moving forward, and of course, I'm come out there, eat with you guys, and go to more basketball games.
Yeah.
So I'm with it.
I love that. I love that. And I want to
Yes,
keep
man.
track of you and what you're doing. And I'm always open to hang with you and your business. And,
Of course.
you ever come out this way and you're helping some folks out, invite me because I'd love to
Oh,
sit in and just experience what you do.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm with it.
You're a beautiful
Thanks for
man.
everything.
I
You are
hope you
too.
can hear that the
Beautiful
right
person.
way. You're a beautiful person, bro. And I'm just so glad that I met you. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today and sharing some
Anytime.
light with my
Yes,
audience.
yes, ma'am. I'm
Appreciate
happy to
you.
be on. Thanks for
Yes,
being a
sir.
blessing too. Talk to you soon. All right, bye bye.
If this conversation sparked something for you, or if you want to dive deeper, head over to soulnotskin.com and take a look around. Grab a copy of the book, Soul Not Skin, free resources, or get on the wait list for our next workshop. I hope you'll pull up a chair next time to hang out with us again. We're figuring out this world and ourselves at the same exact time, growing as we listen to the stories of others. Let's keep getting to know each other. After all, we are in this together. See you next time.